Hello and welcome back to the Dundee YouTube channel. My name's David OC and today we're on a very Irish country road in Laois at the launch of the new Opel Astra. Now this is my first drive of it and today we're going to be taking a look at it very quickly and seeing how it is to drive, how it compares to some of its competitors, because this is an action-packed segment. You've got everything from the Golf to the Seat Leon to the Korean brands to the American brands, and then of course you've got its own competitors, things like the Peugeot 308, which we recently also just attended the launch to, and this is actually built on the same platform. So we're going to be seeing how it all compares in this review. But what I will say is Opel has been a little bit of a hit and miss brand throughout the last 20 or 30 years. For example, they built the Vectra, but then they also built the Mokka, which is a gorgeous looking car. And this theme's continued throughout the years. However, I think this is one of the good ones, certainly in terms of styling. So let's pull up and have a look at it. So we've pulled in next to this river. As the lights start up, they even do a little bit of a dance. Hopefully that comes up well on camera. But we've pulled in here next to this river to take a look at some of the styling, because I think this is one of the good ones for Opel. To begin with, the visor along the front, it looks really good. We're seeing that throughout some of the range, things like the Opel Mokka, and this one being the SRI spec, which is essentially a higher, sportier version. It comes with lots of nice things, including the two-tone. So this is all black. You've got the black roof, and there's some more aggressive and sportier bumpers. There's also keyless entry, and that's why it keeps opening and locking behind me. As we make our way around the side, we've got these black 17-inch alloys. I think they're called the Cadet ones, which is a good kind of homage to the past. And then these black wing mirrors, and they're also electronically opening. As I said earlier, the black roof looks fantastic. And then around the rear, this is a really good angle. I think the standout feature is these lights. They're very sleek and really sporty looking. There's the overhanging spoiler, and check out this little kind of shark fin which lights up there. Really like that. Black badging. They've also gone for a very similar approach to Volkswagen there, with the logo opening the boot. And as a whole, it does look quite well in here. Boot space, it's big. It's not as big as something like a Volkswagen Golf, I don't think. There's a little bit of clever storage. No spare wheel, unfortunately, but the two seats do fold in a 60-40 split. And actually, this is one more thing that the true Opel Astra enthusiasts will recognise. These little vents here, we saw them on the Mark 1 and the Mark 2, and it's nice again to see some homage to the past and where it's come from. So what is space like here in the rear? Truth be told, it's not gigantic, and certainly no gigantic people will fit in here, but it does suffice. You've got a little bit of knee room, however it's tighter than something like a Ford Focus. Headroom again is okay, but not amazing. That said, the seat's pretty comfortable. You've also got an armrest with some drink holders and a phone holder, and down here you also have a USB-C charging point. So it's not all bad, it's just not massive in here. In the driver's seat, so the first thing I have to commend Opel on is that it doesn't beep and go crazy at you when you open the door, even when the engine's on. It just comes up with a little light in front of you. The position in here, to begin with, the seat, so comfortable. I think it's the most comfortable seat in the class. I don't think anything else. Volkswagen's new Mark 8 seat, it definitely isn't nearly as comfortable as this. In terms of the fit and finish, it's quite nice. This being the SRI's got some nice red detailing around it, which does definitely spruce things up. I can imagine it would be a little bit bland in here without it. And the steering wheel feels really nice. Not mad on the centerpiece here in the steering wheel. It's maybe a little bit budgety, but I do like these buttons rather than the halogen buttons that we're getting in some of the competitors, because it just works really well, and it's very intuitive. The infotainment system, again, really easy to use. It's touchscreen. Apple CarPlay connects up wirelessly, which is brilliant, although there is wires down here if you do want to connect up. And the system, it's kind of like a lot of cars. Spend a week in it and you'll get very familiar with it, and the reality is, for the vast majority of the time, you spend it in Apple CarPlay. And there are some brilliant shortcuts here, some real buttons for the climate control, a real volume knob, again all these things. They seem so simple, but they're actually really appreciated. And then over here you have a bigger driver's display, and again you can kind of customize that a little bit, but not too much like you would in a Seat Leon, let's say, for example. But it does work. It's got all the information you could need. So I think we'll go for a little bit of driving. Other things to point out, bit of storage here and there, nice bit of deep storage there, glove box. You can get wireless phone charging down here, I think, as well. And of course this is the manual one, which we'll talk about when we go for a drive. As we pull off on a little bit of an adventure here in the Astra, bearing in mind this is our first drive, it's lovely to drive. Right now I'm at 100 kilometers per hour. I'm sitting under 2,000 revs. This particular car, let's talk about the engine. So it's got a 1.2 litre, 130 horsepower petrol engine. I've driven this engine in a number of cars across the platform, and it is fantastic. It packs a serious punch, but it's also really economical, particularly for a petrol car. I think claimed it's about 5.5 litres per 100 kilometres, and that's basically across the board in terms of driving, city, motorway, a mixture. Now you might have just seen me downshift. That's because this has a 6-speed manual, and that's really interesting because in the 308 you can't actually get that. It's only automatic, so really nice to have it in here. And as you can see, it revs up really nice. One maybe slight complaint is I find that the pedals are a little bit off to the right. So the clutch pedal, I keep clipping my foot off the footrest. That's happened to me in a few cars in the group. I know in Peugeot, I think it was the 2008, I noticed that. Small niggles aside, it is actually quite enjoyable to drive. Now, interestingly, in the other engines, the 1.5 litre diesel, the manual gearbox is currently available, but will be phased out by the end of the year. There will also be a hybrid version of the car, which has a 1.6 litre petrol engine paired with a 12.4 kilowatt hour battery, and that will have 180 brake horsepower. In 2023, Opel hopes to have a fully electric version available on sale in Ireland. Which one to go for, that's up to you and your driving style. If you're just doing some small little commutes around the city, then maybe the plug-in hybrid is a good one to get. However, you really do need to be able to charge it up at home. Now, this seat is just, it's marvellous, I have to say. So it's got this AGR stamp on it. Now, AGR it's a German company, I believe, and I think what they do is they approve seats for back and neck and postures. I don't know exactly, to be honest, but I'm not a seat specialist, but it's a very comfortable seat, and having that stamp there is definitely a big achievement by Opel. And as a whole, in here it's lovely. These two 10-inch displays, they're wrapped around me, they're very driver focused, kind of pointing towards me, which is quite nice. Buttons are maybe a little bit far away, but again, these are small things that we're picking and choosing from. So in this short little drive right now, I'm on a really Irish country road. There's not even a white line in the middle of it, a lot of bumps, and the ride's really smooth. All right, here comes a massive speed bump, and just look how easily it takes it. The dampening it's actually very good, I have to say. If this comes as an electric, which I suspect it will, I have yet to go to the press conference to find out all the details, but that's this evening. I suspect that will come in 2023, and when it does, assuming the price is right and the grant in Ireland stays in place, that could be a great one to go for, because it is, I can just see it working with this. Not that there's anything wrong with this manual, and I'm sure the diesel and the plug-in hybrids also work, but just having one of these as an electric kind of makes sense. So there you have it. That is our first quick little drive of the new Astra, and I definitely think this is one of the good ones, and I can see it proving quite popular in Ireland. However, the 308 being one of its biggest rivals, obviously built on the same chassis, but it also is a great contender. I don't know, let us know which you would choose in the comments. In terms of the price for this one, spec'd as you're seeing it on camera, it's a touch under 32,000 euros. And as a whole, I have to say, it looks well, It drives really, really well. The seats are very comfortable and it's nice to be able to have a manual one. We hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, please make sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one.